Not really sure how I ended up on this side of YouTube, but I feel like I might be in the wrong place. Let me explain a little bit. I know for those of you who've been following me for a while, yes, it's been a while, and we've been back in the States now for 6 months. I do owe you a life update video, and I plan to get that posted, recorded and posted. I have a lot to update you on. We have a lot of stories to share. But today, the reason I'm making this video is to make sure I'm very clear about who my intended audience is. So I posted a video a while back now, right before we left England, that said I didn't want to go home back to the States, and that I was just very concerned about some of the things I was seeing and some of the behaviors of the people in the States compared to what we experienced in Europe from the people, most of the people that we met in England and Spain, and just the general attitude and the safety of the food and the safety of the schools in Europe as opposed to America. And we've been back 6 months. I still have all of those same concerns, but I knew that I couldn't really change it or help to make it better if I didn't at least try. So I'll give you more details about all of that whenever I do my life update video. If you're watching this and you are not of the belief that all humans deserve equal rights, regardless of skin tone or nationality or creed, gender orientation, who they love or their hobbies, anything. I feel like every person deserves the right to health and safety and food and, warmth, or coolness in the summer if it's hot. If you don't believe those things to be true, you are not gonna agree with anything I have to say. I live in a place where very basic things divide many people, and I don't stand for it. I used to let it happen and listen to people in my family and my school and the church I grew up in just spout all these things that were based on hate, and I didn't know that my voice mattered back then, but I see very clearly that it matters now, and I can't make the world a better place if I'm hiding behind being politically correct. I grew up in a place where they said you don't talk about certain things at the dinner table, and now that's all I want to talk about, because if you and I can't have a conversation about these things, then I don't really want you at my dinner table. Like, get the fuck out of my house. I'm serious. Like, I felt so much safer in Spain and England simply because people were taken care of. Simply because it was so much more affordable, even in England, to live and to just buy the basic groceries than it is here. And when you buy groceries, you're not having to look for organic, non-GMO from the best brands, and you don't have to worry so much about whether or not they use slave labor to get their chocolate. Everything is way more quality controlled. You don't have massive listeria and salmonella. Is that the right word? Listeria, salmonella, and all these crazy outbreaks because our government took away regulatory departments. Like, life is just easier on a base level in Europe. When we were in England, there was a cold wave. I don't know what you guys call it there, where it's way colder than it normally would be. And the government gave you guys a break on your electric bill. Do you realize that in America, our electric just keeps going up and up and up, and they don't give a shit? Like, you have to have already had your electric cut off and prove that your bill is more than a month past due before you can get any help here. here on that kind of stuff. And I also want to be really clear that if you were one of the people in my comments on my video where I said I didn't want to go back home, who told me to just go to France and get on a dinghy and come back to England, you do not understand how immigration works. You do not understand. You are a mouthpiece for hate, and I really don't want you watching my content anymore. Like, you are not my intended audience. There are probably people out there spewing that same hate bullshit that you could go follow, and you might actually enjoy their content. Like, that's not me. I do not believe that that is actually how your government works, and if you do, you're following some whack job online. That's all I know how to say. Like, it just doesn't work that way. And if someone is seeking refugee status, it is because they have been living a life that you cannot imagine. And you are so fortunate that you don't have to know what kind of life you would live where you would send your wife and child to a safe place because not everybody can come, or that you would just send your child alone. And there's so much propaganda out there. And here's the thing. I could debate you about what's really happening or not, but the core of it is, does it feel like love or does it feel like hate? When you're hearing this stuff and you're saying this stuff, does it work you up in a way that makes you feel on fire about the hate for those people? Because if it does, it's more than likely just propaganda. If it comes from a place of love where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful that I live in a country where we have enough that we can offer to those who are in need, those who are hungry and cold. That comes from a place of love. If it does not feel like love, it is hate. And I do not make content for you. And I really hope you go get the help that you need. Because if you're the kind of person that thinks that there's not enough resources on this world to feed and house and clothe every single person on this world multiple times, you're just greedy. And you are the kind of person that thinks, oh, if this person who is poor and in need is elevated to a position where they're at least not dealing with hunger pains and not shivering in the cold, if they're elevated to that position, then that makes my position less. If you're that kind of person, I really don't care what you say in my comments. Like, I'm not going to listen to you anyways because I don't value your opinion. If you are that kind of person and you want to have a conversation with me, you need to understand that my conversation with you is looking and talking to you as if you're not quite there mentally. Like, my conversation with you is going to be one to try to help you understand what humanity is or should be, not to come around to your way of thinking, because I don't want to be in that space. I don't want to be in a space where any other person in this planet is a competition to me, or that I would want to do anything other than help them live a life that they're happy about. Does that make sense? I mean, I know I'm just rambling a lot, but basically I'm saying, if love is not your priority, then my content is not for you. And I really don't want to come on this platform and be political or talk about how I think the world needs to be a better place for all humans and all living things and the earth itself. But I felt like I couldn't just ignore all of the comments on that last video. Now, that being said, if you're one of my regular followers and you commented and you were like, yeah, I totally understand, like, it really sucks that anybody would have to be afraid to go home. I really appreciate you, and that was a really hard moment for me when I recorded that video, and I shared that. I almost didn't post it at all, but I shared it because I want my authentic story to be heard. And for those of you who were in support of me and just took a moment to give me a comment and let me know that, you have empathy for me and you understand. You may not understand exactly what I'm going through, but your thoughts are with me. I really appreciate you, and you are who I make content for, and thank you. And I also have to say that I have grown up and always, ever since I was little, have had to deal with really strong opposing comments to anything I do, because I grew up as, I wouldn't even say, I wouldn't even really call myself a Democrat, okay? Because I feel like that's still a little too far right for my beliefs. But when I say I grew up as a little blue fish in a sea of red fish, every single idea I had, I was told growing up that it was wrong. So I am very used to opposing comments, having to defend myself, having to just listen to other people have hate in their heart. But the outpouring of hate on those comments, you're not going to see them because I deleted most of them. So if you are seeing comments on that video, those are the ones that I just was like, they can just stay there. If I responded to them and I was a little sassy or snappy, that's just who I am. Like, if you don't like it, don't comment. Like, what the hell? You're an anonymous person posting a rude ass comment on somebody's video. What do you think they're gonna do? Are you wanting that kind of feedback? Is that why you post the comment? Because if not, I don't know why you'd even post it. Like, work on love, work on yourself a little bit, you know? I don't know. I just needed to post this because I feel like I needed to thank the people who took a moment to show their support and to just say, sucks for you, but I hope everything works out. That was what I needed in that moment. What I didn't need was hate, and not even hate about me, but hate like propaganda, you know, super right-wing bullshit like that. If you're one of those people, just go ahead and block me. Like, if you make comments on this video like that, I'm just gonna block you. So anyways, if you've made it this long, thank you so much. I know this is not my typical kind of video. I'm not gonna edit this at all. I'm not gonna put any music, the music that some people hate. And if you're one of those people, I don't make this content for you. But I do want to let you know that we have, we're actually moving some of our stuff in our car to our house, and I can't wait to catch you up on the story. It's been a very long up and down story in the last 6 months. We've had a lot of heartache and a lot of really good things, and I feel like we've lived almost several lifetimes in the last 6 months. It's been a lot, and I want to share it with you guys, but I just didn't feel like I could until I got this off my chest. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.